Hello, everyone.
Happy Friday, folks. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July last week and managed to celebrate the holiday and keep all 10 fingers. And no eye issues. I saw Chargers' new running back had an eye injury incurred thanks to fireworks.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone's okay. And everyone's having a good July. Hard to believe that we're almost halfway through the month. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully y'all, if you were in the market, got a good streaming deal for Prime Week, really. And that ends today, from what I understand. So there's still time to get something if you are in the market for something. And speaking of deals, I'll just quickly go over deals for this week. Nothing really has changed over the last couple of weeks. Howdy. Thanks for joining. So YouTube TV still $60 for the first 2 months. So a savings of $46 and 10-day free trial. Fubo still offering $20 off a month for Pro and Elite. DirecTV is offering a variety of deals on their signature plans, $10 to $40 depending on the plan. Sling is half off for the first month. And Paramount Plus, as I posted in the community on Tuesday, I think it was, that's through Sunday, I believe it is, through the 13th, is 99 cents a month for the first 2 months on either plan. So either the ad-supported or the non-ad-supported, the premium offering. And just one programming note, we are going to be out of town visiting family in San Diego. We're leaving a week from tomorrow, actually, so we will be away from not be doing live streaming until August 15th, which is when we'll be back. But we do have videos that we've recorded and we'll be recording next week that will be up while we are gone. So with all that, let's get started. First news of the week is ESPN is apparently in active discussions, and it's not really surprising, for partnerships for their soon-to-be-released direct-to-consumer app. And this is from a report from Awful Announcing. And yes, I did, Raymond, I think I heard chatter of that Hulu's going to be added to Spectrum packages, which is good, and continuing move of cable platforms actively
incorporating streaming.
Thank you, incorporating streaming. I was blanking on the word there. Little surprised because they're wanting to get as broad of an audience as possible. Awful Announcing got access to an internal document showing that Disney was in negotiations as of May 14th, so about 2 months ago, with Verizon, T-Mobile, Roku, video game company Take-Two, and are directly tied to the launch of the app. That's not it, though. Disney is also in talks with Walmart, according to Awful Announcing. Per the site, quote, in addition to the distro launch deals, the internal document also indicates ESPN is engaged in wholesale direct-to-consumer negotiations with Walmart. Now, we were just discussing this. This might be something similar to what Walmart already does with Paramount Plus. They did, Raymond. They had a deal, and what Awful Announcing also reported is that they're in talks with Charter to expand or amend that deal. And so from the site last week, approximately 1 month after the dated document, Disney and Charter agreed to an expanded carriage agreement that includes access to ESPN's forthcoming streamer at no additional cost to subscribers. And the way I take it is that that's just the beginning, possibly something more like this Hulu bit. And this isn't surprising to see for Charter, as they have been actively looking to bundle different streaming services for their subscribers. And so it's clear that ESPN is trying to expand its reach as much as possible. They don't want to kill off what they get through cable or streaming, but they want the data, as we've discussed a number of times. They want that data of people like you and us watching the sports content directly through their app as opposed to on Charter or YouTube TV or what have you. And this is on the heels of it coming out late last week that MLB and ESPN have re-engaged talks to keep MLB on the network. They're saying that it's in the early stages, saying that discussions will focus around local rights and what airtime the MLB will get. MLB hasn't been happy with that coverage, and I saw something earlier this week that MLB was unhappy because was something related to the All-Star game that they were showing cornhole instead of MLB. And MLB and ESPN wasn't happy paying the $550 million a year for the deal. Numerous services have been tied to reported negotiations or talks, including Prime Video, Peacock, Apple TV Plus. Regardless of where the talks will go, behoove the two to come to a deal and allow ESPN to have them on the app. And also read that ESPN came to an agreement with Big East. Yeah, that's a great question for Raymond. And as a reminder, Unlimited, which will be everything, $30 a month, reportedly not have a free trial, offering a reduced rate of $300 if you sign up for the year, or you can bundle it with ad-supported Disney Plus and Hulu for $30. However, that will increase to $36 at some point. Include all of their linear networks, and you will get access to it if you get ESPN through any cable satellite streaming service. And we would expect more details to come out about the app in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks, because I'm assuming about the 6 to 7 week window until we see it launched officially, since that is football season. College football season starts 6 weeks from tomorrow, so we could not be happier for that. So yeah, we still waiting to see what they'll be like.
And right on the heels of college football season is the NFL season, and that's actually our next story, is an NFL rights update. So we have discussed a number of times recently that the NFL could opt out of its rights agreements once, assuming it happens, that the Paramount and Skydance merger is approved. This is because their rights agreements allow for the NFL to opt out if one of its network partners has a change in control. And reports came out this week that doesn't appear to be the case once the merger is approved. However, there's one important wrinkle that may play out when the change in control occurs for Paramount Skydance. The wrinkle is that the NFL is seeking to renegotiate its media rights agreement before the official window begins in 2029. And in this Yahoo Sports article, they quoted John Orand of Puck, who said, quote, "The league could approach networks before the 2029 opt-out and try to renegotiate new deals. In this current configuration, the NFL would waive any opt-out provision and extend the current broadcast deals, which expire in 2033, for another year or two." So the NFL is only able to open its doors, as it were, once every 4 years, and a lot has changed in the last couple of years for the NFL. Just think about Netflix's Christmas Day games, YouTube streaming the opening day game this season. Arguably, there are now more potential partners than available packages. And this is a good problem for the NFL to have. Arguably not a good problem for fans, though, if games do become more spread out or move to a more expensive service. Sports Media Watch had a piece where they said, quote, "The NFL currently earns $10 billion a year from its primary media rights deals, a figure that is not much higher than the $7 billion a year that the NBA will be earning in its new media rights deals that begin this year." So it stands to reason that the NFL isn't happy with that they want to squeeze more blood out of their fan base. And 2030 would be the first season that the new rights would take effect. This would likely include an 18th regular season game, plus more international games, all to be sold to the highest bidder. Likely would include YouTube and Netflix getting a slate of games. And going back to John Orand, he said he believes that a lot needs to occur for this all to happen. And he says that it could benefit the NFL to make a move as the MLB NHL deals with networks expire in 2028. acting sooner could give rights buyers more resources to secure a deal, as opposed to spending that money on those other leagues.
Yeah.
So this won't impact fans in the near term, but it will likely mean more games being spread out and, unfortunately, more money to spend to get those games.
Yeah, and some good comments. I do think Hulu Live subscribers will get ESPN. They will get access to it, but this is Disney, so they will probably do something funky for their own subscribers. And I agree with Raymond. I read an interesting article this week on what 2030 will look like for NFL fans, and they were making the point that they believe YouTube and Netflix are going to be the key players, and that they are going to either get or share a Sunday afternoon package, and that Fox and CBS could be trying to struggle to get scraps. Prime Video and more games on Peacock, absolutely. And like just Moody said, we don't have more blood either, and so they are trying to squeeze as much as they can, and it'll be interesting to see what tipping points will be too far for them, and that it starts to come back on them. Yeah. Moving on to our next story. Free services are great, but FreeV is officially shutting down next month in August. We've known this since I think it was October, when Prime Video announced that they would be shutting down FreeV. It came out this week that it's officially shutting down early next month. This is not surprising. And as it's showing a clear move to consolidate everything under the Prime Video umbrella, which is a growing destination for streamers since it has sports. You can buy shows or movies, and it's becoming a dominant player for consolidation and being able to get a lot of stuff in one spot. The notice appeared for users trying to access Prime Video late last week. FreeV says Prime Video was the new exclusive home for FreeV TV shows, movies, and live TV. And that was the notice to readers. And it also states the FreeV app will be accessible until August 2025. Continue watching your favorite free originals and our library of hit movies, shows, and live TV on Prime Video for free. No subscription needed. Blah, blah, blah.
Just a note, I saw yesterday that they had updated that to say September of 2025.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, if you go to FreeV, if you log in, but they didn't specify if that's September 1st or the end of the month.
Yeah, and...
Or just August. Yeah, I don't know. They just changed it to September.
Okay, good. And then so the company is saying that all of the same content will continue to be available via Prime Video. We personally don't like trying to find... Me personally, I don't like trying to find content on Prime Video. When I'm searching for things, it can be not as easy as other. I do like how they have the live there, but I think what it's going to cause is an issue for people who don't have much experience using Prime Video and trying to wade through the content library that Prime Video has to find those free shows.
Yeah. Because FreeV had its own entire app, and it was, I think, while not robust, it was easy to navigate, and now that content is just a tab at the top of Prime Video, and so it could be overwhelming for people.
Yeah, and we're working on a video for that, and it's understand the move from a financial and practical standpoint. It gives us concern, as I said, for people not used to using Prime Video. Because it can be a bit cumbersome. If you're not happy with it, we recommend Tubi, Roku Channel, or Sling Free Stream to replace what you were getting through FreeV. Some more comments. I would agree with Raymond that I would expect to see Disney to shut down standalone Hulu and roll it into Disney Plus. And do you think WBD made a mistake by making Max and adding Discovery content? I think yes, it would be, because I go to HBO to watch The Sopranos or Game of Thrones. stuff like that. Just marquee content. Not everyone's going to like it, but it's marquee content, and Discovery content isn't that. And that's not saying that it's bad. It's just not that marquee content. And so it'll be fascinating to see how they're able to, and like I saw on Twitter, that they're unhappy because Twitter's not allowing them to change their name back to HBO Max.
Yeah, I don't think it was good for the HBO brand, but as I like HBO content as well, but I also like some Discovery content, especially like the House Hunters type HGTV content. So for me, it's convenient having it in there, and I can filter over to just HBO stuff. But I agree that from a brand standpoint, I don't think it was smart. It definitely dilutes HBO's brand.
Yeah, it does. And is Sling going to survive? I hope so. We think it's, for what it is, it's a good service and a good way for people to get some sports or some entertainment, newsy stuff without going to something like Hulu Live or YouTube TV. I think DirecTV, with their genre packs, specifically My Entertainment, is going to be that, and ESPN is going to be a key player in whether or not Sling survives, not to mention the debt issues that EchoStar is having. So hopefully they could be bought out if they can't survive, and it be kept. So
Okay, well, let's go on to our next topic, which probably won't surprise any of you who stay up to date on the streaming space, but streaming and cable costs are up. So a new report came out from J.D. Power about a week ago, showing something that, again, did not surprise us. TV spending continues to increase. It's important to point out that the numbers in J.D. Power's report come from the first quarter of this year, January to be specific. So they're several months old, but still, we think the numbers are telling. I'm just going to call out a few of those things here. So the average amount paid for satellite or cable bundle per month was $188, and that's an increase of about $8 from October of last year. The average amount paid for a monthly unbundled cable satellite was almost $122, which is up, not terribly, but about $1. The average monthly amount spent on streaming was just over $73, which was up very slightly from the previous year. Average monthly amount spent on a wired internet bundle was $170. That's up again slightly. Average monthly amount spent on an unbundled wired internet subscription was almost $84. And then on a wireless internet bundle, it was about $145. And finally, the amount spent on an unbundled wireless internet package was about $72, which was down just slightly. So it's a lot of numbers to throw out there. There are a few positive things to note, namely that monthly wireless internet bundle costs were largely flat, so they did not go up. Same for unbundled wireless internet. Sorry, it's kind of a mouthful. And monthly streaming costs are largely flat. That's good to see on the surface, but we don't think that these numbers tell the full story. Key behind all of this is the increased use of FAST services. Reports indicate that about 2/3 of streamers are using a FAST service or multiple FAST services, and this may be keeping numbers down. But what's important to keep in mind is streaming is becoming, even though it's cheaper than cable still, as these numbers show, it is becoming more expensive for many people. $75 is still going to be too much for many consumers. And we would again argue that the J.D. Power number is slightly off because it didn't truly take into account the YouTube TV price hike in January, which would swell those numbers even more. So just, if you're finding yourself feeling like streaming's too expensive, a few tips that we've shared before, but they're worth repeating again. Some ways that you can save on streaming are cutting a service when the promotional pricing ends, moving down to only one paid service, canceling an expensive live service and moving to two on-demand ones, like say Netflix and Max, just for example. Look to see if you qualify for discounts, such as a military or student discount. Look for deals through your credit card provider. Cancel all of your services and only use fast platforms. So saving on internet costs are a little trickier, but it's always possible to call your service provider and see what you can negotiate. Just don't sign up for something you don't need just to get that discount. Cox.
They love to do that.
They do. Costs, and then the reality of needing to do these things is because costs are only going to rise, and being vigilant is essential to keeping your expenses in check.
Yeah, exactly. And a few more comments. I totally agree, Andy. HBO was a legacy brand for decades. They were very foolish to change it. And I think, Raymond, I agree. I really like Sling Free Stream, especially with that DVR, albeit a small one. It's something other free services aren't offering. And I do think free services will continue to grow. I think Tubi and Roku are really the key players to look at there with Roku's acquisition of Frndly TV. That's only going to continue to make them more of a destination, especially the consolidation that you can have there. And Tubi is continually to add more and more. And as the economy goes to where it's going right now, people are going to use them. It's just good sit-back TV, as we discussed a few weeks ago. Heck, Gunsmoke is raising or increasing in viewership because it's being offered. And I think that's only going to continue to happen. And yes, thank you. I like to talk with my hands, making the computer shake. I agree, Jeffrey. I just looked again. I've been following it. Nothing yet on the Fubo skinny bundle. So hopefully we got like 6 weeks. So hopefully I'll come out with something soon.
Just seeing Baba's note there at the bottom, that's a lot. $410. Assuming you're meaning that's monthly for phone, internet, and streaming. So definitely would encourage you to take a look at some of those tips we just shared and see if you can get that down some.
Yeah, so the next story is, we discussed this last October, the click to cancel rule. We discussed what it was, a rule meant to make it easier for us as consumers to cancel recurring services. As a refresher, this is how the rule worked at a high level. One-step cancellation. Companies had to offer the ability to cancel through the same method that you used for signing up, without additional steps. No retention tactics allowed. They can't force you to take lengthy surveys, offer promotions or excessive offers to prevent you from canceling. Clear notices for renewal offers. Companies had to provide clear and upfront notices to consumers before automatic renewals, including any changes in price or terms of service. It's applied to all recurring services from streaming to gym memberships. And businesses could still offer promotions, but it wasn't as a retention. They can still ask them if they're open to promotions. In short, it was intended to simplify cancellation of subscription services. But pretty much right after the FTC ruled this, an industry group representing cable TV programmers, operators, tech leaders, so Charter, Cox, Comcast, Paramount, Disney, WBD, and more, sued for it to keep it from being enacted. And the rule was set to take effect on Monday, this upcoming Monday, the 14th. We knew with the election last year that it was going to play a role in this because it was a party line vote, 3-2. Well, the rule is no longer. The U.S. Appeals Court struck it down on Tuesday, saying certain procedural errors on the part of the FTC made it unable to be enforced. The court said, quote, "While we certainly do not endorse the use of unfair and deceptive practices in negative option marketing, the procedural deficiencies of the Commission's rulemaking processes are fatal here." Further statements by the court make it clear they believe the FTC didn't take enough time to assess the cost-benefit analysis of suitable alternatives, even though the court believes the FTC didn't act in bad faith. While it's certainly possible that the FTC could take the rule up again, With some tweaks, we don't think it's very probable. The way the FTC board voted last year made it clear that it would likely be enforced with political changes. And so why should we care? It's going to continue to be more difficult to cancel streaming services. Like Apple TV Plus is a pain in the neck to cancel. Some services make it relatively easy. Netflix, I think it's just a simple click of a button. And so this is even more reason why it's so important to stay on top of subscriptions and cancel when you can. And if you're not able to cancel, contact the provider if you can via chat. And if not, dispute the charges with your bank or credit card company. There was definitely an argument to be made that the enforcement of the rule that could have potentially impacted jobs. And that's a credible argument. Unfortunately, consumers are going to continue to pay the price. And yes, Raymond, that has been bandied about some, reported some that Congress and states are looking into trying to fix streaming relative to that. And great question. Do you think some people will call HBO Max just HBO Max? I think we pretty much always called it HBO Max or HBO or whatever. So yeah, they dug their own grave.
And just that comment on weather services, I would check out Fast Services. They have a lot of free news and weather channels on there, and also an antenna if you aren't currently using one to get your local networks. I was telling John just this week, that's the only time I watch our local news is when a rainbow is headed for Omaha, like, some massive storm with all the colors is it's coming at us, and then I want my local news. Yeah. And then also just with this FTC ruling, I think, yes, it impacts streaming for sure, but I'm also thinking of recurring subscriptions to things like car washes, which are, just infamous for being almost impossible to cancel if you sign up. So absolutely, I think it's going to hurt consumers in the long run. So we're going to look at one last story here quickly, and John wants me to cover it because it has to do with Disney. So I will. But we have discussed a number of times how media companies are actively looking to spin off their linear networks. NBC Universal is getting ready to divest itself of MSNBC, CNBC, USA Network, and 4 more channels. WBD is looking to spin off CNN, TNT, TBS, Discovery, Food Network, HGTV, True TV, and more. It has long been thought that Paramount Global will spin off a variety of its linear channels once the Skydance merger is complete. And amidst all this activity, one notable exclusion was Disney. That appears to be changing. There was an announcement on Tuesday from Variety. They were the first to report that Disney and Heart Media have requested. Excuse me, I misread that. That was my mistake. Hearst have requested that Wells Fargo aid them in beginning and handling the sales process of the A&E Global Media, which is a rebrand of A&E Networks. So think channels like A&E, History Channel, Lifetime, Vice, Biography, FYI, along with A&E Studios, which produces content for a variety of platforms. Other assets could include FAST channels, a variety of streaming apps, subscription services, and more. It also owns a stake in Philo. So Variety reported that there's no certainty that A&E Global Media will be sold entirely or in part. We thought it was interesting and just wanted to think about why is Disney looking to potentially rid itself of the A&E portfolio. It's, we think, due to dwindling revenue. So its income from their share decreased from $575 million to $207 million year over year. That's a decrease of 64%. Selling off part or all of this part of their portfolio allows them to continue to cut costs and scale more. For the A&E brand, it could result in them pairing with another network group, possibly finding another investor to support its FAST channels. And what's telling about this move is that it's directly opposite of what Bob Iger said just about a month ago, where he said, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but part of it was, we're going to hold on to the linear television networks and integrate them seamlessly with our streaming business. So, he went on to say that Disney staying in the game, the linear game, strengthens them and improves their focus. He said Disney had no plans to exit linear, and this, while it's not a move en masse, it's a sign that they want to shed some of their channels, linear channels, and focus more on streaming. It's not surprising, actually, since Iger indicated that might follow Netflix's move of not reporting subscriber numbers in its soon-to-be-released ESPN direct-to-consumer app. So this could, why does it matter to us as streamers? Shows the continuing movement in the media space. All of the major companies are spinning off their channels, focusing on streaming, and it could move some strange bedfellows in some of the linear spin-offs to join together to survive. So just a reminder that things are changing very quickly in the space.
Yeah. And last question is CNN weather coming. CNN, I read, is launching their own fast channel. Could be moved off of HBO Max. Time will tell if that comes. So yeah, a lot of changes. Well, anyway, that's what we have for the week. Thank you again for everyone for joining us today. Just as a reminder, we will be gone for live streaming for the next month. We will be back on August 15th, but we will have videos that we've produced and are producing next week that will be out published as while we're gone.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah. Until then, happy streaming.
Yes.
Have a great weekend.